Alright, let's tackle this age-old question that was asked 1,000 times on forums like Reddit and in Quora. Should I go learn backend or frontend? Or is it worth to go full stack instead? Why are so many people learning full stack? So for you guys starting out and it's still a bit confused about full stack backend or what front end means, here's an analogy. This is optional, but if you like, you can close your eyes and imagine being in a half-decent restaurant. You sit down and a waiter goes by the side of your table, handing you the menu and a glass of water to start with. He puts it down on the table. You skim through the menu and you see an item that catches your eye. The waiter or the server now sees the interest in your face, and as a good waiter, he or she walks up to you with a pad of paper and a pen. The waiter then asks, "Are you ready to order?" You then point to the specific menu item and read the item's name. The waiter writes down your order, and then after confirming, the waiter goes back to the kitchen and passes the note of your order to the chef. The chef then starts to cook your order while you sit there enjoying the coziness and the ambience of the restaurant. After 5 to 10 minutes, your order is ready, and the chef signals the server or the waiter by ringing a bell. The server takes the plate with your delicious order and brings it over to your table for you to enjoy. You may now open your eyes. In that analogy, you are the user interacting with the website. As for the front end, that would be anything you see in the restaurant and you get to interact with. The chairs, the table, the interior, the glass of water, and most specifically the menu. You point on the menu or click on what the website offers that alerts the waiter, or in this case, it would be the API. What is the API? The API is the one responsible relaying the information from front end to the back end and vice versa. By process of elimination, the chef or the cook would be the back end and the one who will process all the information you and the API passed on. In our restaurant analogy, the data would be your order written on a piece of paper. Now that we understand the different roles of the front end and the back end, this raises another question: which will make me more money? Well, let's answer that a little later because we still need to understand the different responsibilities of what the front end do in the back end. And you may think, surely it's the full stack dev, right? Because that would mean I have the skills on both sides. Full stack devs will have the knowledge about how the sausage is made from the butcher into the display. Well, wrong, and it also depends. Let's talk about it. First, what should you learn? Front end or the back end? Everybody is different, but here's some guidelines that help me decide. If you believe you are the type of person who likes to see directly the effect of your code, then you should go for front end. You want a red square on your screen, then type this in, then boom, you have a red square on your screen. If you usually like to imagine what you want to see on your screen, then you try to code that, and that type of coding makes you feel good and satisfied, then definitely go front end. If you're the type of person who that likes designing and coding in CSS, all the more go for it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do front end if you're not good with design. I for one sucks at designing, but there are designers in the team that you can rely on if you get hired. They just show you their intended design and you just do the coding based on that design. As for the back end, you'll be more on the data side: authentication, data retrieval, data processing and storing, and database management, designing databases and architecture, and anything beyond that the user of your app will interact with. If you are lucky, you get to work with the API as well. Most of the time, there is a team for the APIs, but if you are in a small team, most likely, if you're a backend developer, you'll be coding the API as well. So if you are more inclined to work with data and processing and you enjoy it, then go backend. For example, the team is creating a login screen. The front end would design the fields and the behavior of the fields if the user types in. The front end would also consider how it would look in different browsers, also in different devices. As for the backend, you'll be responsible or dealing with what the user types in, so you'll be receiving those data like the username and password. Then you'll be coding a logic to authenticate whether those credentials have a match in your database, and if so, then you can log in the user. So you choose what do you want to be bothered with, how the app looks and the behavior of those elements on the screen, which is the front end, or how the data flows in the system and how it is stored in the back end. And also, don't get me wrong, front-end developers also deal with data flows. They'll be more on deciding whether how the data flows from one component to another, how the data is passed on. Or if you were like me, would you want to be someone who is proficient in both? But before you decide on full stack development, I'd prefer if you choose either front-end or back-end first rather than going full stack development. Then why are so many people learning full stack? Well, it's because all of the courses are full stack. FreeCodeCamp, the Odin Project, and mostly Udemy courses tackle lessons from front end to back end. And it's because most people, me included, thinks that they're not good enough so they keep on going and pushing through these courses even though they're already at a skill level who is already hireable. So let's go to your favorite part, jobs and money. One caveat of being a full stack developer is that you'll be hired mostly by startups and small companies who most of the time are trying to save money. So instead of hiring 2 people to do the front end and back end, they'll just hire 1 person to save money, and that's where I come in because I'm a full stack developer. Most companies which pay above average and has the budget would rather find someone who has an expertise on one type of development. Based on my experience as a full stack developer, I've been hired mostly by startups and small companies. There are also times on which I am the only developer on that startup. And once that startup gets funding or meets their desired profits, then they can allocate more money on hiring more devs and split the work. The good thing about being a full stack developer is that if you stick long enough for the company to make enough money, is that you'll be promoted to a lead developer as soon as there are new developers that's coming in. You'll be teaching other developers, be a part of the hiring process and manage the development process. You'll also become like a manager at some point and you get to stop coding. Since you have the knowledge on how the whole app works from backend to frontend, that makes you a good candidate for a lead developer or as a more senior role. But if you want a fast track to a higher salary, then I suggest you focus on one and gain as much experience, whether that's frontend or backend, and proclaim yourself to be an expert. Probably switch jobs every 2 years. This is tech culture because salaries go up once you job hop, because you get to have a raise of about 30% or higher if you hop jobs. That's my 2 cents when it comes to jobs regarding being full stack developer for 5 years and watching other developers go through their amazing careers. Hopefully this video gave you some insight about this topic. I'd appreciate it a lot if you give this video a like, because it helps spread my video and inspires me to make more videos. And hopefully by helping me out, it also helps others out find this video are also confused and in need of more insights as well. Thank you and see you on the next one.